Welcome everyone that has joined us thus far. We will wait just a few moments until we get started with our December edition of Lions at Lunch with President H. James Williams. All right, Dr. Williams, I think we should get started. I am Matt Taskey. I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement at the Mount, a double alum. And today we have with us President H. James Williams for our Lions at Lunch mini-series. This is our second edition, and we are live on YouTube at youtube.com/MSJ1920. And this video will be up on that website for future views as well. But without further ado, Dr. Williams.
Thank you, Matt. And good morning, Mount. Good afternoon, I'm sorry, Mount community. And congratulations on completing this most unusual of semesters. I thank you for all the many ways you've adjusted to accommodate the pandemic. And I thank you for all your thoughts and prayers, because the university has needed those thoughts and prayers this fall. But I'm happy to report that I think we are doing very well considering the circumstances. I know this has not been easy. And as we look to the end of 2020, it's worth reflecting for a moment on the challenges we faced together to get to this point. The challenges began in the spring of this year as we confronted the uncertainties of a global pandemic. And they continued throughout the summer and fall sessions, forcing us on several occasions to reset plans and expectations. Still, what never changed was our commitment to keeping our students on track for graduation and to living the spirit and vision of our foundresses, the Sisters of Charity of Cincinnati. During this upcoming spring semester, we know we must remain vigilant if we're to reduce the spread of COVID-19 on our campus and in the community. Yet with COVID-19 vaccines expected to become available and a university calendar that's filled with academic and extracurricular events to suit all areas of interest, we also have much to look forward to. We have much to celebrate at the Mount next semester. In January, we look forward to hosting the official grand opening of the state-of-the-art Centennial Fieldhouse and Austin E. Knowlton Fitness Center. This new facility will provide a fitness center for the entire student population and a field house with practice spaces for many traditionally outdoor sports and sports teams. The completion of this exciting project is the result of almost 4 years of effort on the part of our community, and it's a true testament to the Mount's commitment to the balanced development of mind, body, and spirit. Details about the official grand opening will be shared with the community in the coming weeks. Today, just let me thank you again for all you have done and for tuning in to this session. I look forward to answering some of your questions, at least as many as I can over the next few minutes. Thank you again.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Williams. Anyone that does have a question, please use the chat function on YouTube to submit your questions, and we will present those to Dr. Williams. First question that we have for you, Dr. Williams, is in relation or in around the COVID-19 situation. Have you been able to coordinate and share best practices with other Cincinnati area universities?
Absolutely. I think we have a great relationship here in the greater Cincinnati region with other colleges and universities. We're part of what we call GC3, Greater Cincinnati Collegiate Connection. And so we already have dialogue going on across the colleges and universities anyway throughout the year. And so you can imagine that we have shared notes. We presidents have convened and shared notes about what's happening and how we can get things done in the best way possible for all of our students. Our provosts have collaborated. Our admissions counselors, folks are collaborating across the spectrum here, to make sure that we can identify what the best practices are and make sure that we're accommodating our students.
Great. And going off of the admissions point, the next question goes off of that. What areas are big enrollment challenges now?
Well, we were having challenges with our traditional aged college students just because of the demographics. And we have known this for the last few years, and we've been experiencing this and planning for how we can overcome some of the challenges this change in demographics represents for us. COVID has made that more challenging, in fact. But our undergraduate population right now, we're pleased with the students that we're serving. We think they're getting the quality education that we promised. I thank our faculty and staff for all the fantastic work they've done to make sure that we can continue to provide the opportunities for students to educate themselves well, despite what's happening with this pandemic. But still, we have challenges to make sure that we can bring another great class in. I will tell you that the early signs are good. We're tracking along 2019 fall semester. And so we started this process in earnest back in August. But we're expecting that we're going to be in good shape come next fall. Our challenges for this spring semester is trying to make sure that we can bring everybody back safely. We had a very productive fall semester. We're planning to conduct the spring semester in a similar fashion, but we know we need to make sure that we can work on our graduate student populations because they are being challenged directly by COVID. We have so many cohorts with companies throughout the region. And a lot of those companies, particularly our healthcare partners, decided not to have their usual cohorts because of the challenges of COVID-19 and what it's doing in their environments, quite frankly. So that presents a challenge for us. We didn't get quite the number of those cohorts that we expected. We're hoping that maybe we'll get another one or two during the spring, but we have to continue to work on that and to make sure that we're doing what we can do to accommodate our business partners so that we can get those graduate student cohorts going again as well. But across our graduate programs and our undergraduate programs, we feel that we're getting done what needs to be done, and students are still interested in educating themselves, and they understand how important that continues to be.
Great, thank you. So somewhat transitioning gears, but obviously it's tied in with what you've just shared on COVID-19 and talking about the status of COVID-19 on campus. We internally are aware of the dashboard and those measures, but can you elaborate on that for those that may not be internal staff or faculty or students, please?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. We just made the decision recently to share that information on our university website. So now for external parties, we're also communicating that information. And I checked just before we started this broadcast, and 26 cases we have over the last month. That's the rolling number. 26 cases that we have, including 19 students and 7 staff. Of those 19 students, 6 of them had never come to campus because of the way we're delivering our courses. So that was good. So we didn't expose folks, for all 26 of those folks, all 19 of those students rather. And the same thing for our staff. Only one of the staff members actually came to campus. So the other 7, were away working remotely And so that didn't impact us, and we didn't have to quarantine folks as a result of those 6 folks. But we're keeping tabs on that very carefully. We're testing here on campus. We're trying to make sure that folks are safe. We're doing everything we can do to keep the place sanitized. We're encouraging all faculty and staff to work remotely when they can. We still have services here on campus, and students may avail themselves. All they need to do is make an appointment, and they can see our faculty, they can see our staff. So we're moving along as well as we can expect, I think, during these difficult times.
Absolutely. And just so folks out there have some perspective, 26 out of roughly 2,500 between undergraduate, graduate, adult students, faculty, and staff. So those numbers are pretty impressive. But
yeah, fair point, Matt. Good
going
point.
off of that, we are beginning surveillance testing as well, where we've already started that. Can you elaborate on what the surveillance testing looks like and just an understanding of what's happening?
Yes. Well, the governor is requiring that we do some surveillance testing here on our campus, and we're supposed to surveil at least 3% of our total population, and we've been trying to do that. This fall, we've started by testing as many folks as we can, and we shoot for more than 3% so we can make sure that we get the 3% that we need. We're testing all the athletes, certainly those who are competing, but even those who are practicing, we're testing them as well. And so the surveillance testing for this fall semester started a couple of weeks ago now, and we'll have it in full force for the spring semester for sure.
Great. And so looking at the fall semester, you touched on this a little bit earlier, and the plans and preparation that went into that, and all of the hard work that obviously the faculty members and staff members around campus, the time commitment that created, right? Knowing that things were somewhat up in the air for the fall, can you elaborate on how the fall semester, what that completion looked like?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I will say thanks to all of our faculty and staff who worked over the summer in planning groups to make sure that we were well prepared for the fall semester. We took what we learned during the spring semester when we had to abruptly pivot to offer everything online. We took the lessons learned there and planned well for the fall semester. So we had 65% of our classes being offered in what we call an in-sync mode. That means that we had a combination of Zoom class and strictly online class for most of our courses, so that students didn't have to come to campus and didn't have to subject themselves to others who might be carriers of COVID-19. Excuse me, and that worked out well. That was 65%. We had another 15% of our students who were completely online in an asynchronous fashion, which means they could access the materials whenever they wanted, whenever it was convenient for them. And that worked out fairly well from what we've been able to ascertain. We also had another 15% of our students who were in face-to-face classes here on our campus. Those were relatively smaller classes where students had to have hands-on kinds of experiences, like clinicals, for example. We had those students meeting face-to-face, and that worked out well. We didn't have any real challenges there. And the last 5% of our students were doing internships and co-ops. And so they were on the premises of the organizations for which they worked. But that worked out very well, and we planned that well, I think, because at the outset, even during the summer, we recognized that we could not come full force face-to-face. We knew things would be too challenging to do that. We still have students living on campus. We plan to do that. We have a few more students living on campus than we planned, but we were able to accommodate them because our student affairs group did such a tremendous job of thinking about how they could make sure that the students were not only continuing to learn as unobtrusively as possible, but they were also having opportunities to network, to get to know each other, even if socially distanced, but still getting to know each other and being able to share their educational experiences. Did a tremendous job with that during the fall semester as well. So we did those things, we made it through that, but we knew all the while that we may have this uptick in the virus. So we had planned that students would not come back onto the campus for face-to-face classes after Thanksgiving. So from that point forward, all the classes were done virtually. And those classes should be finished now because we have graduation scheduled for tomorrow. So we're looking forward to graduating approximately 106 students, I think 76 undergraduates and 30 graduate students. We were able to do this digitally. And so we'll have that available starting at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. We invite everybody to join us for that virtual graduation. We were pleased that we were able to have baccalaureate programs earlier, maybe 3 weeks ago. We were able to convene and have some students and some of their parents to come and join, and they had an opportunity, again, socially distanced, wearing their masks, but they were at least able to convene and give us an opportunity to do that. So that ritualistic experience is so important for all of our students who are graduating, undergraduate students in particular. So that worked out pretty well as well. So we've been pleased with what we've been able to do for this fall semester. We're looking forward to the spring.
Great, thank you. And that was the next question I had for you, was about December graduation. So you led into that well. And now we do have a slight change with the schedule this year with the campus closure later in the month. Can you briefly elaborate on that, please?
Sure. Well, first of all, we've had a tremendous year. Not just in terms of the work we've done and the accomplishments of our students, our faculty and staff, but also the challenges we've faced and overcome. So, folks are weary. Folks are a little bit weary. It makes sense that they'd be weary. And so we know that we need to take a break. We need a respite, is what it boils down to. Typically, we'd work throughout the break. We'd have all of our staff here for sure. Of course, students would be away and faculty by default effectively would be away. But for this holiday season, December 28th, 29th, and 30th, we are not going to have activities here on campus. We're going to close the campus except for essential workers. We're going to close the campus so that folks can have that respite that they need so badly.
Great, thank you. And moving forward, most of us are aware that the fall sports season did not happen, and how athletics have transitioned to the spring. But can you elaborate on athletics, the schedule, plans, preparations, all of that for the spring?
Sure, but if you'll allow me to divert my attention and your attention for just a moment, because what I'd like to do at this juncture, quite frankly, is to say thank you to Steve Radcliffe, who retired as our athletics director this year. Retired right at the end of the summer, and say congratulations to Ms. Melanie Wagner, who is our new athletics director. She's outstanding. She was an associate athletics director for a while. She served in an interim capacity during the summer, and now she's our full-time athletics director. We really appreciate the leadership Melanie is providing. Excuse me. Having said that, obviously this has been a challenging year, so we could not have the sporting activities we wanted to engage in for the fall. And that was a big sacrifice of sorts for our athletes. Their sports are really important to them. They're scholar athletes, so they come here for the academics primarily, but they also want to play the sport they love, and we want to make sure they have that opportunity. So we were disappointed, all of us, that we couldn't do what we wanted to do during the fall semester. But thank goodness we had a reprieve, and so we were allowed to start planning for the spring semester, and we did plan for all of our sports to take place during the spring semester, including our football. So football moves from fall to spring. Basketball is primarily a spring sport anyway, and they play one game the men's basketball team played one game during the fall, just recently in November. But most of those activities are going to happen next semester. I think the basketball team is playing a game tonight, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe they're playing Miami University, if I'm not mistaken. But at any rate, we've tried to figure out how we can keep those athletes engaged and active and being ready to play the sport they love. And so in the spring, that's going to happen with all of our sports. And so that means we have a schedule chock full of activities and events for the students and the community. It's going to be tremendous. Our challenge is going to be trying to figure out how to manage it all. In fact, someone told me that on one day, we may have 5 sporting events scheduled for our campus. So that would be amazing. But we're equal to that task and we're looking forward to it. So if you keep up with your schedules, there'll be sporting activities throughout the semester. You know, we have a tremendous softball team. They've done a great job. Our baseball team, our track and field teams. It just goes, you know, soccer, volleyball. We just have great athletics teams. And so we're encouraging our students to come out, the community to come out where we can allow you to come out, because we are limiting the crowds, as you can imagine. And so you do have to register if you're going to come. And in those cases, there will be guidance as to how you can register to come to the sporting events. But we clearly want to make sure that our student athletes are there, and that to the extent that we can allow folks in, we're allowing our students to have priority. And then the visiting team should have some spaces as well. But Melanie is handling that, and the athletics department can give you all the information you need about how to make sure that if there's an opportunity for you to participate, you can do it, and do it in a way that complies with our rules for social distancing and wearing face masks.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. And another question came through. You referenced it earlier with the fall semester, and the spring will look much like the fall. Can you expand on that for the spring semester from the academic standpoint, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think we've learned some lessons. We learned lessons back in the spring when we had to make that pivot. And we learned a lot of great lessons during the fall semester as we continue to deliver most of our classes remotely. That in-sync mode has worked fairly well from what I've been able to ascertain. And that's going to be the primary focus for us in the spring. Again, that'll be 65% roughly of all of our classes will be in that mode. We'll still have online classes, 15% or so. And we'll probably have some face-to-face classes again, maybe not as much as 15%, but that's what we're shooting for at this point, as much as 15% of our classes in that mode. Then the other 5% again will be the co-op students, interns, clinical students, that kind of thing. But that's how we plan to do it. And the faculty have made their adjustments, I think, and are doing a great job. Our students are getting the help they need, and we want to make sure that we continue to make that help available through our tutoring that we've been able to provide the students, but also our academic advising staff has been tremendous in helping students to sort through some of these challenges that they have. And we're concerned, quite frankly, you know, with mental health of our faculty, staff, and students for that matter. And so we want to make sure that in the midst of all the hard work that we're doing and all the ways in which we're responding to this pandemic challenge, we're also making sure that we're taking care of our health and making sure that our faculty and staff, students are safe. So there'll be a number of measures that we, you know, are taking to make sure that folks are healthy. We have new telemedicine opportunity for students to be able to avail themselves remotely of health services. So the spring semester is going to be, again, another challenge, but we think we're up to it.
Definitely. And that leads in well to next topic that I'd like to discuss with the Centennial Fieldhouse. And I'm going to go ahead and share. This is a photo taken earlier this week, I believe, this is by the music wing looking southwest, I guess, to the main entrance. This will be where the main entrance is. And then here is a rear shot of the field house. And Dr. Williams, I'll let you explain all these things. Just want to give some perspective to those to know what they're looking at. And then here is a picture from the Sisters Charity end of the west lot. So I will bring this back up and kick it back over to Dr. Williams.
Well, we're really proud of what you see evolving, almost before your eyes. We did keep a little tracking of all the different components of the construction of that facility, and you can see that on our website. But this is the backside, if you will, of the Centennial Fieldhouse. This is the fitness center component of this combined facility, and that fitness center component is the Austin E. Knowlton Fitness Center. And so what you see there on the top would be the fitness center itself, where we'll have all manner of weights and treadmills and opportunities for students to work out, completely, comprehensively. And then on the bottom level, it's where we have our showers and locker rooms and spaces for the athletes down on that bottom level down there. And then if you look to the right, that's the east side of the facility. If you were to look farther right, that'd be the Children's Center and the Harrington Center there on the right. And we'd be looking north. If we're looking up the right side of that building, we'd be looking north toward the front, and toward the front where the Centennial Fieldhouse is. Can you go back to the Fieldhouse component? So here, again, you keep coming up the right-hand side. On the front here is the Centennial Fieldhouse component. You now don't see, at the very back, if you look all the way back to the left, to the far left, you'll see the segment that is the fitness center itself. But most of this space then is the Centennial Fieldhouse. And if you look down the right-hand side here, that's facing north, and that is the front facade. And on the inside would be all of our facilities for a lot of sports activities that we usually have outside, so that we can have them inside. And prime among those opportunities would be our track. We have a 200-meter track inside that facility. Do you have a picture of that, Matt? No?
I do not, I'm sorry.
It's okay. There's a 200-meter track on the inside of this space. And believe it or not, it's the only 200-meter track inside in this whole region. So we're really excited about that. And we have great track and field athletes who are going to take advantage of that opportunity. All of our students, of course, will be able to run on the inside now on that track, and they'll appreciate that as well. We still have a great 300-meter track, don't get me wrong, down on the other end of campus at the football field. But this will serve us well during the cold winter months when the weather becomes inclement. We'll be able to accommodate a whole host of different sporting events on the inside of this space. Inside that 200-meter track, there will be netting with a synthetic turf on the inside of that inside of that netting, so that we can have sports that would ordinarily be played on grass that can be practiced in this facility. So the whole host of different things in the Centennial Fieldhouse. And man, it's too bad we can't just have a big open house and invite the whole region to come in right now. But we'll have an opportunity. We'll get there eventually.
Definitely. And I do believe on social media, they are sharing photos of the inside with the track being laid and all of that. So if you want to jump over, I believe it's at Mount St. Joseph U, I believe is the handle for the different social media pages from campus. But it doesn't look like we have any other questions that have come through to this point, Dr. Williams. So I would like to take a moment to thank you for your leadership along with Cabinet and the transparency that you all have shared with us internally. And hopefully we've been able to do that for our external constituents as well. But I just want to take a moment to thank you, Board of Trustees, Cabinet, and everyone on campus for their commitment to the Mount during this time. We really appreciate you and everything that's happened through this difficult time.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. And let me thank the audience. I want to thank all of our alums, all of our current students, all of our faculty, staff, this community here in Delhi, the more extended community across this region. We appreciate everything you guys have done for the Mount. We appreciate that we're all Lions for life, whether we are graduates or not. And we take with we stand with great pride for the kinds of activities, the kinds of learning that happen here on our campus. And I want to thank all of you for the work that you've done, and I thank you for the love that you have for the Mount. And I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, Dr. Williams. Merry Christmas, everyone.